Alrighty, so daily recap. Let's start with GU. Swing is bullish, internal is bullish. Let's just fix our chart OCD. So swing is bullish, internal is bullish. Was waiting for price to potentially break that internal high that we had. So that was my internal structure. High, low, we mitigated the extreme demand, extreme and mitigated demand there. Price gave us a choke and continued bullish, respecting this fractal structure. And then it pushed to the upside, right? So coming into the day, I was expecting price to still push from this, push and break that demand, that supply, that H4 weak internal high. We had this fractal demand that I was expecting price to come to and then continue bullish. So unfortunately, we didn't. Looking at it on the H4, I was expecting price to break this H4 swing high. Internal structure kept continuing bullish and staying bullish until we broke that high. So once we broke it, we were in phase A2. So for me, there was no trade. Why? Because we're in phase A2, I was expecting price to potentially just continue or break. I don't care, as long as it's phase A2, I'm not taking any trade. I'm either expecting price to potentially give us an IBOS, right? Or continue bullish, then give us a choke, and then I'll follow perhaps the medium time frame, right? But it didn't give us anything. Price just retraced to that demand. We broke it, gave us a choke there the previous day. And yeah, the thing is, that was my internal low, that was my internal high. I knew that price would push higher, but we didn't get any choke. So for me, I couldn't get into longs. Because, well, looking at the medium time frame, we had a boss right there, so price action was bearish, M15 for me was bearish, so there was no long to look for. And yeah, what happened? Price just gave us an IBOS there, went back to the extreme, that was at 2 a.m., and then it just kept on pushing higher. Even here, it didn't give us any entry, as this demand doesn't have any inducement, so for me it's not valid, and then price just kept on rallying and pushing higher. Creating and giving us a new swing low, which is that one. It's strong as well, so let's just put that. This one is strong. And now, after we reached the H4 supply, we could see some sort of pullback, potentially the daily pullback, the H4 internal pullback, or if we get an IBOS, then we'll start the swing pullback, right? So I'm looking for sells. Looking at the medium time frame, we had a choke followed by an IBOS, so internal is bearish. We're in phase C. We still have a lot of RR until our EQ, so we have a big target that we can take trades and play that one. What I'm expecting here is that, well, this is my internal structure, so that's my internal high, that's my internal low. Thing is that we don't have any inducement, so what I would be cautious of is taking trades from chalk or whatever. So what I'm looking for is potentially price to sweep that high, mitigate that unmitigated supply above, all right, and then continue lower. So basically an LC3 and that LC3 sweeping that high, right, mitigating that demand and then closing below with just a wick. And I can just take that trade directly after the bearish candle close, after I see a big candle rejection, and I can just take that trade, target EQ for 1 to 3, and yeah, so that could be my trade. If price break that low, then we'll wait for a new pullback to one of the supplies in premium and then target lower. We could see a flip potentially, but for that flip I need some sort of pullback, some sort of inducement, and then price mitigate that flip, give us a choke, and then continue bearish. If it creates an unmitigated extreme supply, then I'll wait for price to potentially mitigate that one, give us an entry, and then continue bearish. But for that, we need extreme supply to have inducement. And yeah, so I think the highest probability would be for price to sweep that high, give us an LC3, and continue bearish. So that's for GU. Let's see EU. You're looking at the daily. We're in phase C. I was looking for price to potentially break this supply. Why? Because it doesn't have any inducement. Simple. And I was expecting price to push higher into this potential supply, although it doesn't have any demand about. But again, I don't know. It has kind of this inducement, right? So so looking at the H4, H4 was bullish, internal was bullish. I mean, no, sorry. Swing was bearish still, internal was bullish. I was expecting price to push higher because every supply here is mitigated. So I'm looking for these supplies to potentially target. So that was my internal structure, right? Price mitigated lower, it mitigated one fractal demand, I mean internal demand, which was an inside bar, a fractal pullback. Unfortunately, this inside bar didn't have any inducement, so I wasn't interested in looking for buys from here. Price gave us a shock, pulled back, and then continued bullish. On the H4, it kind of makes sense, but looking at the M15, right, that was my M15 swing structure, swing low. That was my M15 swing high. Price just pulled back into our extreme and then just pushed higher. That was yesterday. Coming into today, what happened is price, well, we just had the IBOS right there. Price swept the lows at 2 a.m. and then it kept just pushing. So coming into session, we would be around this level here. Price just kept on pushing higher. We mitigated demand here, internal demand, but we didn't have any adjustments, so there was no trade for me. And yeah, price just kept on pushing. And now we're in phase A2, so pro internal, pro swing. This is our internal structure. And yeah, I'm not doing anything on EU unless we get the IBOS, and then we can look for price to continue bearish and short that until we get we get a deeper pullback into EQ, and then we can look for buys. But for now, that's what I'm looking for on EU basically. Let me just fix the premium discount line. There you go. Yeah, so basically I'm looking for price to push lower, and yeah, let's see what will happen. I don't think we don't have any clear supplies that could hold us from continuing bullish. But for that, I'm waiting for price to still give us that pullback and then potentially continue bullish. So let's see if that would happen. But for now, looking for sells potentially after we get the IBOS, or else I'm not trading A2, phase A2. It's not very high probability, so let's just wait for that. GU, as I said, waiting for LC3 liquidating that high, as it doesn't that supply doesn't have inducement, so just liquidating the high, closing below, getting into trade, covering the highs with like 2 pip stops, and then targeting EQ. And yeah, so let's see what tomorrow will bring, and cheers guys.